Hey, good evening, students. Welcome to video class. I think you may all are fine, right? All of you stay home, stay safe, learn well. Okay. So, students, in this class, I am going to start a new chapter, chapter number 9, the living organisms, characteristics, and habitats. Okay. So, here, first we are going to know what is living organisms. Okay, so here living organisms are living things, right? Living things need food, water, and air to live, and these living things grow, right? Living things such as animals can move from place to place in search of food and to escape from their enemies, and they respond or react to changes around them. Okay, so they have babies and they can reproduce, they grow old and die, right? So different locations on our planet earth have different surroundings and different types of creatures living here on earth, right? Each living organism has certain characteristics that help it live in its particular environment, okay, such as the deserts or in the sea. Okay, so all living organisms share some common characteristics that help us to differentiate between living and non-living things, right? In our surrounding also there will be different living organisms lives, right? So different locations have different surroundings. For example, some have mountains, some have deserts, while others have beaches. Okay, the kind of organisms that live in a particular place depends on the surroundings of that place. Okay, so this is why we see different creatures in different places. Okay, for example, camels are found in deserts. Okay, while fishes and crabs are found in the sea, right? And the trees, plants, and objects also differ from place to place. Okay, in the mountains, one can find trees such as pines, deodars, and oaks, while the desert region has cactus plants. So, all these different places like mountains, deserts, okay, were so different from one another. Okay, some were cold, some were very hot and dry in desert, and some places so humid, and yet all of them had many organisms or living creatures of various kinds. Okay, so students, then what is habitat and adaptation? Okay, so before going to that, we should know what are the surroundings like in desert and in sea. Okay, so in the sea, plants and animals are surrounded by saline, right? Saline or salty water. Most of them use the air dissolved in water. Okay, and in desert there is a very little water availability. Okay, it is very hot in the daytime and very cold at night in the desert. The animals and plants of the desert live on the desert soil and breathe air from the surroundings. Okay, so in desert there will be less vegetation. So the sea and the desert are very different surroundings, and we find very different kind of plants and animals in these two regions. Okay, right? And let us look at two very different kind of organisms from the desert and the sea. Okay, a camel and a fish. Okay, first look at the camel. Okay, the body structure of a camel helps it to survive in desert conditions. Okay, camels have long legs, okay, which help to keep their bodies away from the heat of the sun. Okay, they excrete small amount of urine. Their dung is dry and they do not sweat. Since camel lose very little water from their bodies, okay, they can live for many days without water. And next, let us look at different kinds of fish in another picture. There are so many kinds of fish, but do you see that they all have something common about their shape, right? All the ones shown here have the streamlined shape. Okay, so that was discussed in previous chapter, in chapter number 8, right? This shape helps them move inside water. Fish have slippery scales on their bodies. These scales protect the fish and also help in easy movement through water, right? And that fish have flat fins and tails that help them to change directions and keep their body balanced in water. Gills present in the fish help them to use oxygen dissolved in water. Okay, we see that the features of a fish help it to live inside water, and the features of a camel help it to survive in a desert, right? Okay, so we have taken only two examples from a very wide variety of animals and plants that live on the earth. Okay, in all this variety of organisms we will find that they have certain features that help them live in the surroundings in which they are normally found. Okay, the presence of specific features or certain habits which enable an organisms to live naturally in a place is called adaptation. Okay, so the adaptation of organisms differ depending on their place of dwelling. Okay, that is why a fish cannot live out of water and camel cannot live in sea. Okay, students, now we are going to know habitat. Okay, a habitat can be defined as a home or a dwelling place of an organism. Okay, it is the place where that particular organisms lives. Okay, for example, we already know, right, deserts are the habitat of camels while seas are the habitat of fish. Okay, like that. Okay, the habitat provides food, water, air, shelter and other needs to organisms. Okay, several kinds of plants and animals live in the same habitat. Okay, and next we are going to know types of habitats. Okay, there will be two kinds of habitats. Okay, one is terrestrial habitats, another one is aquatic habitats. Okay, so terrestrial habitats means these are different habitats found on land. They include forests, grasslands, deserts, coastal and mountain regions. Okay, the plants and animals that live on land are said to live in terrestrial habitats. Okay, some examples of terrestrial habitats are forests, grasslands, deserts, coastal and mountain regions. Okay, on the other hand, the habitats of some plants and animals that live in water, okay, are called aquatic habitats. Okay, so these are habitats of plants and animals that live in water. Okay, lakes, rivers and oceans are some examples of aquatic habitats. Okay, there are large variations among terrestrial habitats like forests, grasslands, deserts, coastal and mountain regions located in different parts of the world. Okay, students, next we are going to know biotic and abiotic components. Okay, so biotic components are all of the living things in an ecosystem or in habitat, okay, such as plants and animals. These living things interact with one another in many ways. Okay. And next, abiotic components. Okay, abiotic components are the non-living parts of the environment that can often have a major influence on living organisms. Okay, so abiotic components include non-living things such as water, sunlight, oxygen, soil, rocks, and temperature. Okay, so the organisms, both plants and animals living in a habitat are its biotic components. Okay, the non-living things such as rock, soil, air, and water in the habitat constitute its abiotic components. Okay, students, here one small information. Okay, there are some changes that can happen in an organisms over a short period of time to help them adjust to some changes in their surroundings, right? Okay, for instance, if we live in the plains and suddenly go to high mountain regions, we may experience difficulty in breathing. Okay, and doing physical exercise for some days, we need to breathe faster when we are on high mountains. Okay, after some days our body adjusts to the changed conditions, okay, on the high mountain. Such small changes that take place in the body of a single organism over short periods to overcome small problems due to changes in the surroundings are called acclimatization. Okay, these changes are different from the adaptations that take place over thousands of years. Okay, students, in this class we have learned what is habitat and what is adaptation, and what are the kinds of habitats, and biotic and abiotic components, right? If you have any doubt, ask in online session. Okay, all of you should follow given worksheet. Thank you, students.